All right, let's get started about the new slate material editor. So first thing you will see, I have this really simple geometry here in 3dsmax. I would change the display to from shaded to edged face. Just make it easier. I know with edged faces, I can easily see every single edge along this geometry. If I select, if I highlight with a white color, so that's kind of nice. Then I'm going to my material editor. If you click the small button on this right side, you will have two options. The first option is actually the conventional old material editor, which has been in 3ds Max from day one. The second one is the slate material editor. I will use a new one. All right, so here is that interface looks like if you first time open it. It's kind of similar like Grasshopper. You have a lot of different nodes on the left. You can drag it in the middle, then you can link these individual nodes. Okay, let's go through them. First, you have a collection of materials, right? If you see standard mental array, they are just grouped. If I click standard, I can see a bunch of them show up here. I will start with a standard, default shader. So I will use my left button, drag and drop. So you can drag this guy to the middle. Standard and standard. Okay, that's a really basic material. If I use middle view, you can actually zoom in. You will see many different maps or channels. In Maya is channel, in Max is map, the same thing. I kind of got used to call it channels. All right, so here you have the diffuse channel, specular, gloss, self-illumination, opacity, bump, right? So for example, I want to attach an image directly to the diffuse color. How could I do it? So I will drag this slider down. Let me just turn off the Autodesk material library because I'm going to build by myself. I don't use Autodesk at this point. So I will go to Maps. In the Maps folder, you will see many different two-dimension maps. You should see one map, particular name is bitmap. Let me see if it's here. Here we go. Actually, the first one, bitmap. All right. The difference between the bitmap with the other maps is bitmap is kind of based on a pixel image. It's external file you can download. Other maps is procedural map. It's based on algorithm. There's no pixel in other maps. Procedural is based on the computation. So I will do the bitmap. Just click bitmap. I'll double click. Then I will find a JPEG file. I think I will just use the guy on my desktop. Is a screenshot is okay. I will just use this. Click open. All right. So now you have this bitmap. You have this default standard channel. Then I can use my left button to drag the connection directly from bitmap to the diffuse color. Right? It's kind of like Grasshopper. Drag and drop, build up the connection. So I'm done. Then I can select the material. If you look at there's a tiny button on the top of the editor, the name is Assign Material to Selection. See this tiny green color box, all right? Just make sure you have your object selected. Then I can just click it. It's being assigned to this guy. Alternative way to do this is right click the material. It will pop up a menu. Then you choose assign material to selection. Exactly the same. Okay, so either way, right click, assign. I should also click this button. If you see the name here, the show shaded materials in viewport. I feel this is very useful, especially if you want to preview the material. You can just click this guy, turn on the preview. So let's take a look at how the sphere looks like. Well, I don't really see the image, right? It looks like a bunch of weird lines. Any ideas why? The scale, yes. In another word, the projection, right? From the 2D to the 3D is not set up in the right way. So the quick way I can modify this is double click this bitmap. In the editor, it should pop up a property panel. This is actually really nice, exactly like Maya. You double click this bitmap, it gives you all the controllers or parameters associated with this map. You should see there is a one value, the name is a real world scale. Right now is 1 and 1. Okay? So that means whatever units you are using is only one unit. So let's give this to 100 by 100. Okay, so now if I look at my scene viewport, you got a correct or bigger image. Okay, and that's really nice. If I do a rendering, you should see this image show up. Right? Simple like that. About the basic interface of a slate editor, you could delete this view. I mean, clean this view by delete these nodes. This is different from Grasshopper. I mean, if you delete, you actually just clean this this workspace. The material is still there. If you want to see it, drag the slider bar lower. You should see here is a tag. The name is the scene materials. Right? You should see one with a red color right here. Material 26. You double click. You will come back. Okay, so it's probably a good idea to rename this. Let's see, whatever name you want to give it. Break 111, whatever. Right? You can give a name. Okay, so I think that's covered about this basic workspace. Let me attach another bitmap. This time I'm going, well, I will do a procedural map. Let's do a wave. So drag the wave here. You can see the wave is black and white. I will connect the wave directly to bump. All right. It's black and white. If I double click bump, here in the maps, you can see the bump value right now is 30. I can bouncing up. Let's give 50 here. Okay. You can also directly control this value 0.5, the same. Okay. You can change the percentage. Then if I do a rendering, you should see some, oh, I think the scale is not right. So let's double click the wave. Let's give tile to, I think I should give, let's do 10 by 10 here. Just make it readable. And I'm going to disconnect the diffuse map. So I will delete the connection. Just make it easier, you can see the result. The bump result. Here we go. You can see this wave is actually start to tweak or deform the sphere, right? So that is about this bump map.
How do you usually make those? You just Photoshop them?
You mean this black and white image?
Yeah, like if you had a particular surface, like let's say brick or like rough concrete or something, would you just make the bump map in Photoshop and bring it in?
Yeah, usually I will do that. You can start Google search, right? Find something similar, and then you want to use Photoshop to kind of clean up that image and convert as a black and white. Okay, so this is the bump. You guys could try others like self-illumination, reflections. So I don't cover here in this demo. Okay, one last thing, if just in case if you turn off some windows, don't worry, you can always turn on just by click this user interface stuff. It will show up. It also has a really nice drop menus you can go through. There's a lot of really useful tools here. You can get all the same materials. You can assign materials through menu. This button is very useful. You can select by material. That's if you click, it gives you a list of objects. So I feel that is useful. And remember, you can always clean up the workspace by delete. They should always be available here for you to reuse. Okay. You can also drag other materials. Just play with it. So, for example, I can go to Autodesk Material Library. I can see, well, I like this navy blue. I can drag it in. You can kind of get the idea how this material was set up. You can try others. Let's see, tile. There's a lot of different tiles. You can drag it. You can see the connection to the bitmap bump. There are some special materials I have to show you. It's in mental ray. So in the mental ray, if you bring in some special materials like metal, it has a little bit different hierarchy, different from standard. So you have to play with it. Just make sure you get used to it. But basically, I think Autodesk library is really comprehensive. It's covered pretty much everything you need for architectural rendering. You have concrete, fabric, floor, carpet. Yeah, there's a lot of material you can use. All right. So I hope that's covered pretty much everything about the Slate editor. Wood material you can just bring in. It's right here. Okay. So let's stop this tutorial. Oh, by the way, if you do choose any mental ray material, just make sure when you do rendering, you want to switch the rendering engine from the default to mental ray. Otherwise, this material won't be rendered correctly. All right, so that's one single thing we need to worry about. All right, let's stop the video.